Coming up on 5 Minute News. Los Angeles sees catastrophic COVID surge and first case of new variant. 22 killed in attack on Aden airport after new Yemen cabinet lands. And Boris Johnson's lackluster Brexit trade deal becomes UK law. It's Thursday, December 31. I'm Anthony Davis. California has again shattered its record for COVID deaths, with 432 fatalities reported yesterday as the state faces its deadliest month in the pandemic and a dire shortage of hospital resources. The state also announced its first known case of the new coronavirus variant, first detected in the UK. California's case rate is now far outpacing every other state in the US, and a catastrophic surge in Los Angeles County is forcing hospitals to turn away ambulances and make plans to ration care. The state's new single-day record for deaths is equivalent to one death every 3 minutes, which shows more than half of the fatalities are in LA. The crisis is only expected to get worse as holiday travel and celebrations for Christmas and New Year's Eve further spread the virus and crush the hospital system in the coming weeks. The state has reported more than 5,300 COVID deaths this month, exceeding the monthly record of 3,800 fatalities in August. With intensive care units already at capacity across Southern California, the state extended lockdown restrictions on Tuesday for the region, keeping restaurants closed for in-person dining and urging residents to stay home and avoid travel. The situation inside some hospitals is deteriorating so rapidly that some facilities are experiencing a shortage in oxygen supply, with at least 5 LA hospitals declaring an internal disaster over the weekend, closing to all ambulance traffic. Near the border, San Diego hospitals reported this week that they are running out of morgue space. The hospitals that are most overrun are those that serve lower-income communities of color, particularly in parts of South LA, a reminder that the pandemic has been especially devastating for Black and Latino residents who've been forced to continue their essential work in dangerous conditions. Meanwhile, Britain on Wednesday became the first country to approve the coronavirus vaccine developed by Oxford University and AstraZeneca, hoping that rapid action will help stem a record surge of infections driven by a highly contagious form of the virus. Though cheaper and easier to distribute than viral vaccines, the AstraZeneca-Oxford shot has been plagued with questions about its most effective dosage since data published last month showed some surprising results. At least 22 people were killed and dozens wounded in an attack on Aden airport on Wednesday, moments after a plane landed carrying a newly formed Saudi-backed cabinet for government-held parts of Yemen. Prime Minister Ma'in Abdul Malik said all members of the cabinet were fine, but the attack underlined the difficulties facing a government intended by Saudi Arabia to unite two of its allies in the war against the Iran-aligned Houthi movement. Hours after the attack, a second explosion was heard around Aden's Mashhad presidential palace, where the cabinet members, including Ma'in, as well as the Saudi ambassador to Yemen, Mohammed Saeed al-Jabbar, had been taken to safety. In the airport attack, loud blasts and gunfire were heard shortly after the plane arrived from Riyadh, witnesses said. A local security source said 3 mortar shells had landed on the airport's hall. The cabinet announced the death toll on Twitter, citing the interior minister, and said 50 people were wounded. Médecins Sans Frontières aid group had earlier said 17 people were treated for wounds at its hospital in Aden. There was no immediate claim of responsibility. The Saudi-led coalition said it had downed an explosive-laden Houthi drone that was targeting the presidential palace. There was no immediate reaction from the Houthis, who denied responsibility for the airport attack. The two groups are the main Yemeni factions in a southern-based Saudi-backed alliance fighting the Houthis who control the north, including the capital Sana'a. The southern port city of Aden has been mired in violence because of a rift between the separatists and Haiti's government, based there after being driven from the capital by the Houthis in 2014. Boris Johnson's post-Brexit trade deal with Brussels has passed into law following a whirlwind 14-hour parliamentary process that has radically redrawn the UK's ties with Europe. The Prime Minister thanked MPs and peers for passing the European Union bill in one day, in a statement urging the nation to seize the moment when the transition period with the bloc ends at 11 p.m. tonight. It was announced Her Majesty the Queen had given approval to the European Union bill at 12:25 a.m. this morning. Her signature puts the UK-EU agreement into British law, preventing a no-deal Brexit today when the transition period ends. It followed the recall of Parliament for an emergency one-day session to approve the EU-UK Trade and Cooperation Agreement concluded by the Prime Minister and the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on Christmas Eve. The deal comes 4.5 years after the Brexit referendum vote to take the UK out of the European Union, but its rapid approval has raised concerns from MPs and peers that the bill has not been properly scrutinised. Parliamentarians raised concerns over the document, saying it had failed to secure access to security databases, broke promises over fishing rights in UK waters, and left unanswered border questions in Gibraltar and Northern Ireland. Opposition Labour leader Keir Starmer described the deal as thin, but said Labour would back it because the alternative would be devastating for the UK. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen Podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.